Oh, bloody hell, this is getting close to getting on telly. And in the end, they went, yeah, yeah, we want you on there. So .8, I've called it, and people are
Yeah.
saying, are you American or something? It should be like simple dot football. But I just thought it sounded better. Simple. Yeah, I mean, my opinion on this, obviously, I say it as I think. I think Liverpool will. I think Liverpool will win the league quite easily, in my
Win the
opinion.
league. Okay.
Was all the Man United supporters were saying, get him out, you've got to
Get
get
him
him out,
out. Get
son.
him out. I can imagine. I can. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to One Way Football. And I'm joined here today with a massive influencer within TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you name it, he's done it. I think even Channel 4, Simon. Was you on channel? You
Yeah,
was on Channel 4.
yeah, I was on Channel 4 as well. Yeah, yeah.
Was it Four in the Bed?
Yeah, Four in the Bed. That was an interesting thing, actually. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was good. It was a good for the
Yeah,
business.
because I remember a couple of things. I was trying to look at a few things, and I'd seen it, and I was like, it was on Channel 4 as well. So what actually happens with your B&B?
Well, it was actually a hotel. People thought it was B&B, but I got away with getting into the channel. But I had like 40 bedrooms, so it's a 40-bedroom hotel. So which people
40
don't
bedrooms.
realise. Yeah, yeah, it was a big place, but it was I was we had to go through all different stages, and they accepted each stage, and I thought, bloody hell, this is getting close to getting on telly. And in the end, they went, yeah, yeah, we want you on there. So that's what happened, and it was great. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was
I
a,
need
it
I
was
need to
only,
rewatch the show to be fair to watch it. Did you win?
yeah, we won it as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
did you win it? Yeah,
yeah,
brilliant.
we actually won it, which was amazing as well, which was brilliant. But it was over 2 weeks, so it wasn't just a day thing. It was filming over 2 weeks. It was really
Is
good.
any of that scripted at all, or is it
No,
all like nothing scripted? Did anyone
no.
underpay you?
We had a couple of people underpay us, but no, no, we had one person underpay us. One person paid the amount, and another person paid us more.
Did
So,
that did it frustrate you though? Did you kind of want to say like more than what you could on TV, like,
well,
or was,
not really. No, I think I went on there and I was actually genuine, and I said what I wanted to say, and people didn't see a different me. I was as me, and I was like that on the camera and off it as well. And I think that's why I've
yeah,
done so well.
yeah. Oh, good, good. And then what made you want to go into like we've seen you in the past with the TikToking and stuff like that. How did you get into being an influencer?
Well, that was my daughter's fault actually, because when it come to lockdown, I sold the hotel, and I had a spa at the time as well, and I sold that, and I sold everything, and thought, right, I'm going to chill for a bit. You know what I mean? I've
Yeah,
done. It was hard work. The hotel and spa was like 24/7, and I'd done it for 8 years, and I just wanted to chill a bit. And one day in lockdown, Keely come round because she's my daughter, so she could come round and all that. And she said, "Dad, have you heard of TikTok?" And I went, "No, I've never heard of it. Never heard of it." She went, "Well, I'm just starting to do it. I'm doing some dances. It's going well. Do you fancy doing a dance on my account?" And I said, "Yeah, all right." So we had done a dance on her account, and it got to like 1.5 million views or something. And
wow.
everybody was going, "Oh, get your dad to start his own account. He's got to start his own account." And that's what I've done. And that's where
Wow.
that's where that's where it went from. So it's mad.
Because I actually used to watch you through the lockdown era of TikTok.
Oh, did you?
And
Mm.
yeah, when you was used to collab with How the Dragon and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And yeah, it was
yeah.
quite entertaining to be fair, because you don't think of yourself sitting there watching, 3 or 4 people doing dances on TikTok becoming very entertaining, but it draws you in. It really does.
Yeah, it
And
does.
fair play. You got to where you are on TikTok with doing that kind of stuff. Um, you've
Yeah.
also gone in through TikTok, and then you went into the boxing game as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
You had a run in with Ed Matthews and stuff like that
Yeah.
in the past. How was that going in? Like, completely just going off the rails and then going into boxing. It must have been a bit like of a weird scenario for yourself.
It was really weird because I was always into sport. I played a really good level at football, and I was always into sport and that. And when I was younger, I used to do martial arts and stuff, but I never boxed. I never actually boxed. And when they asked me to box, I was like, well, let's just do it. I mean, Ed Matthews was obviously mouthy and started having a
Yeah.
go at my daughter and that, and I thought, right,
Yeah. I mean,
there's
we
two.
have to understand as well, just for the content that Ed Matthews, that's what he does. He kind of lures people in, doesn't he,
Yeah,
to get him views and that, and that's how he rolls. So it's just one of them things, and fair play to yourself because you got into the ring. A lot of people they do the talk over the keyboard, but they don't they can never step up into that game, and for me watching that, another thing that was just so entertaining to watch
it
because it just brought views, it did
did.
bring views.
It was
It
mad. It was
wasn't the
mad
first
at the
fight that you
time.
had though, was it? Did you have more than one fight?
Yeah, I fought Dapper Laughs and Chef Dave as well. So
And Chef
I I,
Dave, that's it.
I had three fights in the end. That Chef Dave one has had the record ever on TikTok live. It had 105,000 people watching that on TikTok live.
Wow,
And
wow.
it's the record most ever anybody's ever
That
got
was
live on
that
TikTok.
wasn't on that was off the chart, weren't it? It wasn't actually official boxing
Well, yeah, it was.
event.
It was wicked and bad.
Oh, it was right. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
what was the one with Ed Matthews then?
that was Kingpin.
Kingpin.
And then I
Kingpin.
had a Misfits fight with Dapper Laughs as well.
That's right. Yeah, 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 yeah. So, now you're coming away from kind of collabing with a lot of people now because, I don't know if it's from an outside point of view, but it seems that you have different opinions on things when you collab with people. It does collide in that world, doesn't it? Things get said out of terms and you kind of move on. But now it looks like you're back on your feet. Before we get into what you're doing now, you did have some medical issues as well, didn't you?
Mm. Yeah, I knew he was going to ask. So I go on quite a few podcasts, and I do. It gets to me a little bit, but what actually happened? I just become ill, and my missus, who I was with at the time, she actually saved my life. To be honest with you,
Wow.
because I was in bed really ill. She felt my chest, and it was really cold, and she said, "We've got to get the paramedics in." So we got the paramedics in, and I was only just sort of conscious, and they wrapped me up, put me in a bed, took me to hospital, and as soon as I got into the hospital, that was me finished. I was in a coma for 3 weeks.
Wow.
I had sepsis of the blood, and literally every organ failed in my body. My heart stopped for a little bit. I've only got half a lung now. I had pneumonia. Every organ. I got kept alive by 10 machines, and they said I had 24 hours to live, and they called all my family.
Yeah.
They
It's
called all my
it's
family. They called all my family into the hospital and said, your dad's going to die, your son's going to die, etc." And I had 24 hours to live, and I come out of it. And when I come out of it, they said I'd never walk or talk again, and I was like, "Fuck that!" Do you know what I mean? I will. Trust me, I will. And I'm here now doing my stuff, and I go
if
jogging, I go
someone
swimming.
if someone hadn't met you before and didn't know what you did, I don't think they would have realized that you've even gone through this because you've come
No.
out on top. You're back on your feet now. I don't even you look like you haven't even been through anything.
Uh, it's crazy, really, because I come off of social media 6 months because I had to and everything, and no one realised why I come off, but it was literally because I was on my deathbed. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
uh,
yeah, of
uh,
course.
but like people don't see that side. I got a bit of brain damage, which is okay. Do you know what I mean? I'm simple anyway, so that don't make no difference. But and I've got half a lung, which I find difficult to train now, which is the most frustrating part because I'm a sportsman. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're into your sports,
Mm.
which is known because you've done charity events before, playing
Yeah,
football, and um, so for you to go through that traumatic, time of your life, it just must have been put you right down in the dumps for a long while, You like I say, you're getting yourself back into stuff now. You started TikTok back up. You've started
yeah,
a channel up. I think you've changed the name of your channel now, haven't you? Because you're doing a
yeah,
soccer thing now.
That's it, yes. Simple.soccer.8, I've called it. And people are
Yeah.
saying, are you American or something? It should be like simple.football. But I just thought it sounded better,
Well, do you
simple.soccer.8.
know
You know what I
what?
mean?
If you think about it back in the day, we had our own channel called Soccer AM. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. There you go. There you go. So
so
it's,
it's not all it isn't all American. Like,
uh,
it stands out from the rest of when you say football. But how's it going? How are you finding it? Because do you actually play them games or are you simulating them and just managing the team?
yeah, I'm actually it's on manager's career mode. So I literally do the set up the training, get signings in, sell people, do development, do all the tactics. So there's quite a lot involved, but it's just managing. But it does make a difference what you do in tactics and that. I had a young lad come on my live yesterday, and he was saying, I'm like bottom of the league. I'm in a relegation battle. I don't know what to do." And I told him, and I set up his tactics for him, and he
Yeah,
started winning games. So it does make a lot of difference
yeah, yeah,
what you do on there. Do you know?
yeah. Of course, and I have to applaud you for buying. I think it was a player swap. I seen yesterday, Ethan Waneri from Arsenal.
Yes, yeah, that's a great,
Quality
great,
player.
great signing. And do you know what the one I've really oh, who's the Onana? I swapped Onana with
I know.
Resties, and
Oh,
that was
yeah. I think that was the best bet to getting Onana out there, and then
oh, it was all the Man United supporters were saying, "Get him out! You've got to
get
get
him
him out,
out, get
son."
him out. I can imagine. I can actually imagine.
Yeah,
Look, listen, we're going to move on now to the
yep,
topic of the team that you support, which is
yep,
Chelsea.
yep.
How long have you been supporting Chelsea for?
Yeah, well, I supported Chelsea. I've started supporting Chelsea when I was 17 because my mum and dad bought a pub in Tunbridge Wells, and I used to support Ipswich before that.
Okay.
Um, and my mum and dad bought a pub in Tunbridge
Where are
Wells.
you actually from originally?
Originally from Eastbourne.
Are you from Eastbourne? My
Yeah.
grandma used to live in Eastbourne. Yeah,
All
and
right.
usually it's the place where they say they go to die, don't they?
I did,
It's,
but lucky I wasn't there back in January.
yeah. You moved away from that. Like, get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got family in Brighton, so I know all that kind of
Oh
that
yeah.
that coastline. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I was living in Gran Canaria for 21 years,
Oh
and
no.
then
Oh,
I've
was
just
you
recently,
doing what?
yeah.
Doing what, son?
So I was a DJ. I was DJ over there for a bar.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad moved me over there when I was 14, but last year sadly passed away. So
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, so I met a girl over there from Manchester, and I've recently moved back to Manchester
All
after
right.
21
Okay.
years. So
Brilliant. That's
yeah,
that's
but I'm
great.
originally from Clacton on Sea in Essex, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I would never move
Essex
back
boy.
there.
No. No.
Um,
Okay, yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, with Chelsea though,
Yeah.
are you seeing something like what's your expectations for Chelsea at the moment? Do you see that the team's evolving, or do you think they're just stuck in a rut at the moment? Because I was watching a couple of the games. I don't know if you've been following the Club World Cup or
Yeah.
what's your take on it.
Well, I haven't really been watching that. I've been concentrating on my streaming a bit, to be honest with you. I know,
Yeah,
obviously, they lost 3-1 in the final, didn't they? So, but
yeah,
it's that is. I look at that more of a pre-season, really,
yeah.
than a major competition. Do you know what I mean?
It's becoming a bit too much, isn't it, with the Club World Cup, and then you've got the
Yeah,
Nations League, and the players just don't seem to have a rest. I remember when it was used to be summertime hit, players would all have like 3 months off, go on their
yeah.
holidays, and then come
Get on
back
the
again.
piss.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is it. And sometimes go on the piss before they even start the game, but
Well,
um,
yeah, exactly. Have a
um,
quick cigarette.
well, that's it, isn't it? That's how times used to be. Now,
Yeah,
because it's a complete business, there is just it's non-stop football.
yeah.
Um, in the long term, though, what do you think as Chelsea as a project? Do you think they can go another title challenge, or do you just
Yeah,
think they're
I
now
think.
stuck at a silverware cup run?
No, I think they're improving all the time, man. I mean, look at the average age of their players and their first team squad. You know what I mean? It's a real young team, and they're progressing, and they grew massively last season, I think.
Yeah.
And they're keeping the same team, which is great. They're
Mm,
not looking to sell, but they've got rid of a few players, but only like Humphreys and Bergstrom,
yeah.
and they've got rid of players like that, which not going to be getting involved anyway. So they're sticking with what they got, and I think this year they're going to shock a lot of people.
Yeah,
I
like
really
I've
do.
said it. I've said it. I don't think Liverpool are going to have such an easier season than they did last season. I think it's the top six are going to be up there and running. Um,
Yeah,
even if it's
I
for
think.
top four or
So.
challenging, but I think Liverpool are in for a shot.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on this, obviously, I say it as I think. I think Liverpool will. I think Liverpool will win the league quite easily, in my
Win the league.
opinion.
Okay.
Especially with the signings that they're going to be making. They're talking about Gay now, and they might be signing him,
Yeah.
which would be a massive signing for them because they're like literally that's where the spot where they really need to improve, if they need to improve.
Yeah.
But I think Chelsea could get runners up this year. I've got a feeling.
You think they'll be challenging? Yeah. Do you think
I,
they'll get second? Yeah.
I think they will challenge at the beginning because their first four games, I think they could get results with. I think they're looking to get 3 points for all of them, even though they're all derbies, which is mad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think they will have a chance, and I think they'll stay there for quite a while, but then end up in a battle for the second, third, fourth, and fifth positions. So
Well, it's a bold statement saying if they're going to come runners up because obviously the likes of City. Um, I mean, myself as an Arsenal fan, it's getting tiring now finishing second every season.
yeah,
Um, but I think Arsenal are going to fall back this season. I really do think they are.
I
They're going
agree.
to struggle. They might. I think with Arteta looking in to get his own, keep his job. I think he's going to look at maybe trying to fight for the FA Cup or something to win silverware, and I think that's going to affect the league.
Yeah, I think Arsenal will be up there. Definitely, they'll be up there. I don't think he'll get to a stage where Arteta's looking to get sacked. I think you'd have to be middle of the table for him to get sacked because everybody loves him, don't they? And the club love him. And to be fair to him, he's a great manager. So, and I don't think they will be struggling to that extent. I think they will definitely be top four. I think definitely.
Yeah. What's
And
your feelings on the current ownership at Chelsea? Do you think that they are moving in the right direction?
I think when they first went in there, I think it was a culture shock for them, to be honest with you. And I don't think they understood what the game was all about. Obviously, they knew what football was and how it worked, but they
Yeah.
didn't understand what Chelsea was all about. They didn't understand the history. They didn't understand the supporters. They didn't understand that side. So I think they was learning as well, and they've been learning over the last few years. And I think now they're understanding Chelsea Football Club a little bit,
Yeah.
that they're improving as well and going in the right direction. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, it's one of them things when the whole thing with the recent getting rid of the old owner and Chelsea have gone through a transition of they needed to sort out they because there was a time they bought so many players and I was thinking like I think this was about 2 seasons ago and I was going they look a massive threat and then
Mm.
they just it just became like oh well, they're not really doing much they brought in Mudryk and stuff like that and I'm like oh even as an Arsenal fan seeing a name like Sterling come on loan to us I was rubbing my hands together and going
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
great but it just came up average you know
Did you know? I think when they went in there, they wanted to keep everybody happy. They wanted to like say, "We've come in here. We're gonna make the club big. We're gonna buy big players. Everybody's gonna be happy with us. Everybody's gonna think we're brilliant and everything else." But it doesn't work like that sometimes. You could buy the big players in, but are they right for the club? I mean, Chelsea play a certain way, and they were buying players that didn't fit in the way we played. And even though they're massive players, they can't all of a sudden be someone else that they're not. Do you understand?
yeah yeah
Um,
yeah yeah
and I think that was the situation. They wanted to look good and everything, but they bought wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Let's move on to the Conference League, obviously, because they won the Conference League Cup. A lot of people were saying that it's a Mickey Mouse Cup and stuff, but at the end of the day, you won more silverware than Arsenal, than Man City. It's a cup at the end of the day. Was you happy to see them young lads lift that cup?
Yeah, 100% because of that fact as well. All the young lads, you think the experience they gained by playing it in that cup and by winning that cup and the confidence it gives them and the morale of the team and everything else. It doesn't matter what cup it is. You know, people say about the Carabao Cup, winning that is nothing, but of course it is. At the end of the day, it's a cup competition and it allows teams to be able to bring in the youth players and the
Yeah.
younger players to give them experience and get them ready for the Premier League. So I think it was a massive thing.
I recently just did a video with a Newcastle fan, Rubenstein, his name is, and you know, like for them, the Carabao Cup was a massive cup because they hadn't won it for
Yeah,
such a long time.
exactly,
So we can't keep putting shame to these smaller cups because these cups have been around for years. So
exactly.
when people like this day and age, a lot of the kids that are watching football today, they don't understand how prestigious like stuff like the FA Cup is. When you say that you've won the FA Cup, it's only the FA Cup. It's not Champions League, is it? But that is the oldest cup around, the FA Cup. So we have
Exactly.
to stop. We have to stop putting shame on these cups. Um,
You
the
still got you
Conference
still
League.
got beat you still got beat teams, and you don't just flick a coin heads or tails. Will we win the cup? Oh yes, we will. I mean,
We
you got to
will,
play
yeah.
games. You got to put effort into it. I mean, it's whatever cup it is. You still got to go and win games, and that's
Yeah.
what it's about.
Going into the Europa League, because obviously now Chelsea are in the Europa League.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's going to be the simple fact that Chelsea are going to win that as well. I've said that the Europa League, the Conference League, with any English team in these competitions now, there is no excuse for them not to win these leagues. Do you think Chelsea can go on and win the Europa League?
We're in the Champions League, aren't we?
Oh, sorry, the Champions League. Yeah, sorry, the Champions League. Yeah,
I was going to
I'm
say. I
getting
was thinking, have I
I'm
missed
getting
something
mixed
here?
up there, mate. I'm getting mixed up because of City and all that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
of
yeah,
course, of
yeah.
course, of course. Yeah,
Because obviously there was more teams, weren't there? There's more teams going into it. So
exactly.
where you placed, yeah, you got into Champions League. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, no, no,
Well,
that's
then we'll,
fine.
we'll reverse that question back to the Conference League. Then, at the
Yeah.
beginning of that league, was you expecting Chelsea to win it straight away?
No, no, not 100% not because you look at there was a few big teams. I mean, um, there's a few big teams in there that was gonna challenge. And when you look at if you look at the teams that are actually in there, even this year, you look at the teams and say, can anybody win that? Then it could be one of six or even one of eight. You know what I mean? Quite easily.
Yeah. When you look at teams that know that Chelsea did play, like Garden FC, or you do kind of have to like chuckle at it and go, oh well, yeah, some of the teams in there are not to the
Yeah.
standards of what Chelsea should be doing, because Chelsea should be in Champions League. They shouldn't be playing in that league. Um, Obviously going into the Champions League, then that was corrected on there.
Yeah.
But what's your expectations then going into Champions League? Do you think that you can fight for that now? Because you've obviously got European silverware already, anyway, in the cabinet. You know what it feels like. So what's to say that you can't go for it?
Yeah, I don't think we will. I don't think we'll challenge for it. I'm gonna be completely honest, and always am, even with Chelsea. Um, I think getting out of the group stages, and if they reach the quarterfinals, then I think they've done really, really well. And if they do reach the quarterfinals, I'll be really happy. I think it would be a great achievement for them youngsters because they are a bunch of youngsters, really.
Yeah, yeah, they
Um,
are. Yeah.
Getting that far, so I'm going for quarterfinals. I'll be well happy with quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals, silverware next season.
Again, I am not sure. I'd like to. We're saying about the FA Cup. I'd like to go for the FA Cup because I'd love a day out at Wembley. Um,
Yeah. Who
so
doesn't?
yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping FA Cup or even Carabao Cup. Why not? But other than that, I'm not sure we'll be getting silverware other than having challenging for them two cups. To be honest.
Yeah, it's but with Chelsea, because of what their expectations of such a big club as they are, because they are a big club. um, you do look at the season, you can't not put them in the mix of winning something, or not winning something, sorry,
Yeah.
because of their stature. And yeah, no, I think Chelsea, like I say it year in, year out for the past 4 years, that you always have to watch out for Chelsea. even if they don't make signings, it is one of them teams that you just have to go, all right, it's Chelsea.
Yeah,
You got to be careful
exactly.
with them,
Yeah, but isn't it the same though when you say Man United? That's the thing. I know it was 13 years ago when they won the Premier League last,
Yeah,
but people still talk about Man United and they still
yeah,
talk about what a big club they are because they're one of the biggest clubs in the world.
yeah. It's with United last season. It is one of them things where you do look on it and you go, how on earth did they get to that
Yeah,
in the league? You know, it's same with Spurs.
yeah,
Spurs, they have cups under their belts now, you know, and they have had history before. That's coming from an Arsenal fan. It pains that to say
yeah,
that, but
yeah,
they are a big club, and
mm,
and to see them that far down the league, you just go, if I with my predictions before I've done a video on my predictions, I put Bournemouth to possibly go down. I got absolutely
yeah,
slated for that
yeah.
on the comment in the
I,
comments.
I did as well. I did as well.
But then the argument is, but at the beginning of last season, if I'd have said Spurs and United were going to be that far down,
Yeah,
you know, I would have got slated for that. Yeah,
yeah,
you
it's
can't.
exactly. Someone said to me, um, who's a real proper Tottenham support. They said to me, "Where do you think Tottenham's going to come?" At least it was last season, and I
Yeah,
said they'll be lucky to be eighth. And they were going, "Oh, you idiot! That's a joke. We're going to be top three guaranteed." And I went, "You ain't. You're not. You're not." But
this
I
is
didn't
it.
think they'd be 18th near enough.
Yeah, well,
No,
this is it.
well,
You know,
16th, wherever they were. Do you know what I
they're
mean?
the 17th. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you know, to get 22 losses, they. But this is what makes me think next season is going to be so tough for teams
yeah,
like ourselves, Arsenal, Chelsea, because they're going to become, they are going to arise again. They're going to go. We've got to put that behind us, and we're going to have to push again.
yeah.
I feel like we're in for an exciting season next season.
Yeah, I do. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great, and the start is going to be really really important. I think so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's your? I want to take a quick little take on your opinion on the 115 charges, PSR rules on the on City situation, because Chelsea have been in this situation before, and they've had, I think, did you have it was a 4-year ban on buying players.
Yeah, yeah,
And what's your take on this? Because other teams like Forest and Everton, they get penalised for it, get point deductions, and it doesn't seem that much is happening at City. Does it frustrate you a little bit?
it does a bit. I don't wish it on anybody, and I'm not jealous of anybody. And you know, when the owners come in, Man City, fair play. Do you know what I mean? They took over the Chelsea reign, didn't they, and everything else. And I don't like fair play to people. Everybody's in the game because they want to enjoy it and support it and everything else. And if it wasn't controversial, then it wouldn't be football, you know. So
Yeah,
I don't blame them at all, and I don't wish anything on anybody. I think it's a little bit unfair that the lower teams get penalised and the higher teams don't. But I know it sounds bad, and people are going to slate me for this, but I think backhanders might have something to do with
yeah.
it.
Well, this is it, isn't it? A lot of brown envelopes being passed around,
That's it,
and
exactly.
the game has turned into a business, and and money destroys everything at the end of the day, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah,
greed takes over, and us as human beings, we all know that money's a massive essential in life. So
yeah.
it takes over massively.
It does.
But look,
It's a
listen,
shame. It is a shame, isn't it? In life, money
yeah,
does take over people because it
it's
makes people different in a different person, gives them different personalities, which I don't like.
1 minute you can be at the top of your peak and on the top of a tree, and this goes to like to show in football as well. Um, let's throw one in there, Leeds. You was at the top of your peak, on the top of the world, winning European, and then life can just hit you in the face, and you can be a rock bottom
Yeah,
and down at the bottom, you know. And it happens with people's lives, as well. You
yeah.
know, we have to take that into consideration that we're all human at the end of the day, and the game's a game. We're all there to enjoy it, and that's how it should be. You know,
Exactly. I'm not jealous of anybody and anybody that achieves anything in life. Congratulations. I'm really pleased for you. And it's the same as social media. You know, you have your peaks, then you have your drops. and and everything else. But one thing that does annoy me with social media, when you're having your peaks, everybody's messaging there, everybody wants to collab with you, everybody's
Well,
your
yeah,
friend, everybody helps out. You drop down, they don't nothing to do with you.
they don't want to know nothing. Yeah.
So you find out who your real mates are in this business. I'll
Yeah,
tell you.
it's soul destroying a little bit because
Yeah.
um obviously me just starting off in this, like, for you to come on this channel is a massive help to my channel,
Oh,
and I don't
thank you.
care whereabouts you are in life, it's just you know what you're talking about, and it's great to have you on.
Thank you.
On that note, mate, I'm gonna have to wrap it up, but it was
Yeah.
absolutely a pleasure to have you on my channel. I hope to have you back on maybe in the near future. And it was exciting to have a little talk to you about your life and what you're doing. I will be putting links below for your channels as well in the description. So if
Oh,
anyone
thank
wants
you.
to jump on to Simon's channels and that, subscribe to his channels, go on to his TikTok, give him a follow. You're more than welcome. But thank you very much for coming on, Simon. Love what you're doing on TikTok. Keep it up. I absolutely, think it's great that you've come on and helped this channel evolve a little bit more and help with the process.
No, no problem. Honestly, I've really, really enjoyed it. Love talking about football. I talk football all day, and honestly, I want to wish you so much luck in the future because you're a nice bloke. So I really hope it
Thank you
goes
very
well for
much,
you.
mate. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we shall see you very, very shortly in the near future. Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you for coming on.
Cheers. Thank you.